Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's been trending a couple weeks back. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't, but essentially, a CEO of a company was caught cheating at a Coldplay concert because the kiss cam went on him and he was found hugging a woman that was actually not his wife. And when the kiss cam went onto the couple, they scattered away like cockroaches. And so let's discuss this a little bit because I'm here to kind of put 2 cents on it. My 2 cents on it, at least. So not long ago, a CEO was caught at a Coldplay concert, kiss cam, arms around his company's HR chief. I'm not going to name names. I don't want to put attention towards people's names because we're not here for that today. However, this led the internet to go awry. It essentially exploded. There were memes, videos all across YouTube and Instagram and TikTok exposing this couple. And as a result, his wife removed his last name from her profile, and it has caused a multitude of events to happen. I think they are getting a divorce now. Now, here's the thing. This isn't just about one man getting sloppy in public, okay? It goes a lot deeper, and there's a deeper truth that symbolizes what is happening in modern relationships, modern marriages, and marriages that are based off of status. Because even the smartest and most disciplined, most successful man still sabotage their relationships or their entire life by one small mistake. Or is it one small mistake? And oftentimes, this mistake, they don't see it coming, right? They don't see that it's going to destroy them. So, you might have heard a lot of women say that rich men cheat. We assume smart men cheat because they just can. Smart, competent, rich, status-driven men create lots of options for themselves. But it's rarely just about opportunity. It's about psychology, and I'm here to break it down a little bit because if you are a value-driven man who wants a genuine relationship and you're working on impulse control, but you find it kind of hard, this video is going to be for you because I don't want you to destroy your life because, as you can tell, it can, okay? Even if you don't get caught. It will destroy your own identity and your own perception of yourself. It eats away at you, okay? So high achieving men live in a constant performance loop, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that today, but essentially what that means is you deliver results, you fix people's problems, you work faster, you're absorbing rejection like you are a stone cold Army veteran, right? You climb higher because you're able to do that. You prove your worth. You have more opportunities to prove your worth. Then the same wiring bleeds into relationships where eventually vulnerability, stillness, and emotional reciprocation aren't as rewarding or rewarded in the same way. And that is what we're going to discuss today. How that feedback loop, if you are a high achieving man, can actually affect your relationship. And there were a lot of opportunities that I'm sure this CEO had prior to him actually taking action on cheating on his wife, okay? And I'm not saying his wife is bright, dandy. I don't know her, not at fault by any means, but obviously we're talking about infidelity today and the choices he publicly made, the only evidence that we have, okay? Everything else is just alleged, okay? So we're here to really talk about how the inability to face the shadow parts of yourself or the darker parts of yourself, or be reflective of how your different areas of life are affecting one of the core values in your family relationships or the family system that you've created or the family you've created can actually sabotage your whole life. And a lot of the times, vulnerability, support, respect, slowing things down, enjoying the beauty of family-oriented sacrifices is usually, it feels weak, okay? I'm just gonna say it out loud, right? It feels weak. Vulnerability is weakness. And so let's break it down. Hello everyone, my name is Christy. I'm a therapist and a relationship coach, but most importantly, I am a brain geek. I am here to put and shed light on the plummeting data points and statistics of men's mental health, how everybody that I've spoken to seems to not understand or put awareness as to the differences between the thoughts of women and men, especially in modern relationships and dating, and how a lot of these problems and pains and struggles go unheard, unspoken, untold, but it is the biggest implications to our divorce rates and the breakups and dismantling of our family systems. And so men's mental health is probably one of the least talked about but most relevant problem that our society hasn't shed light on. And so welcome to my channel. That's why I'm here. I don't have lived experiences as a man, but I'm obviously here to shed light on the learnings that I've had from clients, my research, digging into male psychology, social psychology, evolutionary psychology, behavioral psychology, and to shed light on some of the pieces of information that is a little bit more, you could call traditional, that isn't practiced or spoken about enough. So before I go on a tangent, hello, if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a practice, a mental health practice. We're a team of therapists that solely serves men. And so if you're interested in our channel, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and that like button. It helps us, help you, and helps me understand what kind of topics you like learning about, listening to when you go to work. And if you're old here, welcome back. Do me a favor and hit that like button and comment down below. Have you heard about the concert, the Coldplay concert? Have you heard about the CEO? What are your thoughts about it? Okay, because it's not that simple. So let's begin. Number one, why are high achieving men sabotaging their relationships? Okay. Reason number one, and this is all from opinion and also a little bit of research when it comes to psychology, status is one of the highest motivators of men who are high achievers. I mean, you're not just doing it because possibly for impact and mission, but it's also a little bit of status of competence, status that you're special, status that you are the man that has achieved everything that a man should, right? And so status overall is a highest motivator, but status can't soothe old wounds. It's only after a man or a human being achieves some sense of status do they realize this. And a lot of my clients have said this. And so if you're resonating with this statement, continue listening and please take notes. Evolutionary psychology tells us that status and resources are ancient markers of survival, right? Resources, money, assets, the car you drive, status being your competence, how important you are within that community, now the world, our globalization of the world. But in the modern world, status is not enough to build intimacy. You could say back in the ancient times, intimacy was not as valued or as prioritized within relationships, within family planning, within women and men, as much as it is today, as much as it is valued today, as much as it is prioritized today. Intimacy and connection with the people around you in a very positive manner, I do believe, is one that has been exponentially growing in importance in people's lives and relationships and in individualization more in the modern times. However, though, if you are constantly in the loop of trying to achieve status, but do not take a break on reflecting how your old wounds is not ever going to be solved or healed just by achieving status, and you're not spending the time or putting in the attention to actually realize that status is great, but that doesn't mean it's going to make me feel better as a person. That's where things can get extremely messy. Okay, so from childhood, from past relationships in general, it could be from your adulthood or childhood, just history in general, people call that trauma. Okay, no amount of wealth or prestige will stop you from looking for validation somewhere else, and that has always been the case. If you are a man that has ever achieved or started from the very, very bottom of nothing, climbed your way up and achieved some sense of status, wealth, or prestige, whatever you want to call it, you can probably validate me with this statement that even achieving those things will never stop you from trying to achieve more or get more from the world, more validation, right? Or more validation from a woman, more validation from within your company, right? Or validation at work, right? Validation with your friends. It will never stop. And that's the man's psychology. That's not something that is bad by any means. It helps people grow. It forces people to challenge themselves. However, though, the key point that I'm making right here is achieving status will never heal old wounds. And that's where a lot of gentlemen, high-achieving gentlemen, get mixed up. Okay? A very high-achieving man can dominate a whole boardroom, a whole meeting, but still feel completely invisible within his own self, his own life, or his own marriage. And that's the problem. Reason number 2, value drifts and identity clashes. Many powerful couples start with aligned goals. They could have started with nothing, and that's the beauty of it. Then life just happens. Children come into play, career pivots, personality changes, values change, faith change, and that's a big one. When faith shifts, that is a huge challenge or turmoil within any relationship, or even subtle changes that goes unacknowledged, undealt with, unspoken, changes of the world, changes of how each other views the world, what I call the worldview. And if your identity, number 1, goes unchecked and you're not aware of it, but you're changing anyways, and number 2, you don't communicate with your partner and your partner isn't communicating to you, then we lose what I call the most important pieces of a relationship, which is being value-based and mission-based. Because one set of values can anchor a relationship to success or failure, and your partner usually drifts towards it or farther from it. However, if you're always checking in on each other when it comes to your value systems, it will never have the opportunity to sway too far away. However, if you don't do those check-ins, or you're not even acknowledging that you are changing and she is changing, that's when the gap actually starts to widen. Now, I'm being very neutral here when it comes to giving my 2 cents about possibly what happened within this relationship of the CEO, because I do not think this event of him cheating at a Coldplay concert was the only event that happened within this marriage. Call me logical. So without intentional calibration or recalibration within the relationship and the marriage, the gap becomes the perfect rationalization and reason to invite temptation. I mean, we don't connect anyways, right? And so why not cheat? There's a lack of accountability on both sides, right? So, or check-ins or recalibration. Reason number 3, communication breakdowns, and sexless spirals. When men and women stop talking honestly about what they want or what they are attracted to about within each other, in the bedroom and outside of the bedroom, emotional erosion starts. Desire starts to silence and die down. And the sexless marriage trap is usually one of the biggest determinants of divorce or infidelity. And the sexless marriage trap is rarely about physicality alone. It's about the depth of what a affair partner can give to that person quickly, short term, and without much effort or struggle. It's about playfulness, curiosity, feeling alive again, feeling a sense of youthfulness, feeling a sense of being the man and you're at the top of the hierarchy. And same with women too. Important, loved, vulnerability. And when that starts to die down, seeking novelty outside can feel like the only way to feel happy again, alive again, fulfilled again, that you're having fun again. And so when the communication breaks down, sex usually breaks down, and it goes much deeper than just the physical dopamine hits of sex, okay? It usually means that the relationship has been struggling for a long time now, especially when high-achieving men are so used to getting things done quickly, getting what they want done fast, and finding the quickest way to the solution to what they want fast. That's where, with the communication breakdowns, like a spiral, that's where it makes a lot of rationalization that cheating is easy to get what you want, right? And so if that's something that you felt in your own life right now, the emotional distance, maybe you've crossed the line or you're close to crossing the line, it's a really hard place to be, because in my heart of hearts, I don't believe any human being in general, other than the polarizing sides of the spectrum or percentile, whether you're pathological or narcissistic, diagnosed narcissistic, I do believe the genuine good in our humanity, and I don't believe people actually feel good when they're not a good human being. And so if you felt like you're close to falling into temptation, or you are possibly already did it, I'm sure it eats away at you just as much as it eats away as your wife or your girlfriend. And that's what I want to shed light on, okay? And if you're interested in discovering that and healing from it and understanding how to work through this hard stage of your life, I just want to promote, obviously, therapy a little bit. Therapy is not here to shame you, but it's here to give you more information as to why your brain is wired the way it is, and also how you can actually improve your relationship in order to prevent yourself from falling into these temptations. Because I get it. If your girlfriend or your wife hasn't flirted with you or desired you or been gentle to you for a while now, it's easy to fall to temptation. Or vice versa. I hear this much more actually in high achieving men. My girlfriend and wife is perfect at home, but for some reason I still have these temptations, and it has nothing to do with her. It's something within me. It's something deep down in the sense of my need for validation and power. And so I get it. I hear you. A lot of our clients deal with it. And so if you want to discover and learn about yourself a little bit more, please feel free to book a call with one of our therapists. Link is in our description down below, and we can walk you through this journey, okay? Therapy is important. Taking time to discover how you're wired, then how you can change how you're wired is really important. And these patterns that led to where you are in the first place is very important. Reason number 4, cheating feels easier than divorce. From a cold, rational standpoint, gentlemen, I get it. If I was a dude, I would probably choose the same thing. If I had a lot of assets, money, problems on the line, children, community, everything was on the line. Cheating otherwise would, I've never cheated, but cheating might be just a good medium. Many men see divorce as an emotional and financial explosion. Cheating in their mind feels like a controlled burn. But this, in general, again, is self-deception. It's another way to rationalize yourself to do the thing that you shouldn't be doing. Behavioral psychology shows that humans underestimate long-term costs when short-term pleasure numbs current discomfort. Just because you don't want a divorce, cheating may seem like the rational thing to do right now to get what you want. But are we looking at the other long-term costs that it may cost you, right? The CEO now is in a huge legal battle with not only his wife that's divorcing him, but the whole world, his whole community, right? And so the worst nightmare that he didn't want has come true just by not facing his demons. And I'm just gonna leave it at that, right? It's not just risky, but it usually starts with a slow collapse. I'm gonna be honest. Reason number 5, loyalty without depth. Okay? Some men marry for status and loyalty, but confuse loyalty with stagnation. If she's not causing me problems, great. We're great. It's gonna be fine. She's gonna still be loyal. She knows what she's in for. She has all these things, right? It's gonna be fine. Others married for love, maybe a high school sweetheart, but they never built a mission together, or they never checked in on the mission. They never revamped the mission. They never re-edited the mission. If the relationship foundation is really thin, then it's built on convenience, beauty, or status. It's not going to withstand the storms of ambition, temptation, and personal evolution. How you both will change. It's inevitably going to change. I always tell clients, you are going to marry 3 versions of your wife, 4 versions of your wife. And she will have to also marry 4 or 5 versions of you. And if you do not check in on each other, your foundation that you created from the beginning, whether that be based on love, status, loyalty, a combination of everything, is going to wear thin. And the CEO that was caught at the Coldplay concert isn't an isolated event. It isn't an isolated event of a man who was immoral or his morals were failing. It's a public symptom that I actually see in marriages of a private and a very, very private erosion within relationships and marriages in modern marriages, but nobody has spoken about or shed light on, okay? The cheating is not the problem. It is one of the bigger problems, but it is a huge symptom of our society, of the marriage, and what should have happened before, okay? Probably gonna get a lot of hate in that, okay? And so gentlemen, don't think that cheating is gonna solve things. If you don't get caught, it still eats away at you. Trust me, and your marriage. It's gonna make things worse for your marriage too. And so, yeah. So what does this mean for men and men in general? Okay, if you're a high performer, you view yourself as a high achieving man, here's the paradox I want you to understand. The very qualities that make you unstoppable in business, focus, resilience, dominance, power, risk-taking, being very conscientious, being very disciplined and routine, can destroy you in relationships unless you're balanced with humility, flexibility, self-awareness, and emotional agility. Extremely important, because if you are high achieving and the world has gifted you the results of your high achieving character and determinant with status and money and a beautiful family. I'm just going to say it for what it is. Your blind spots is going to be on the other side of that spectrum, because how you're living life is probably mostly biased towards the fact that you're doing great and that you are one of the most competitive people out there, which statistically speaking you are. But when we're talking about relationships, your blind side that you want to work on is the things in which helped you get to this part of your life but may destroy the things that you valued most. And so the balance is key. It's a key skill set that I promote to every man who had to omit emotions to fight a war, to create an identity for himself that can climb up with a social hierarchy that is functional in climbing the social hierarchy, but may as a result destroy genuine relationships and a quality life. And so I'm not talking about your personality. I'm talking about the behaviors in which you have affinity to exuding because it has rewarded you now. You've trained it. You've trained yourself to be that way. And so every man that I've worked with has told me that I don't know anything. I mean, it's not the only side of me, but I don't know what other sides I have. And as a result, marriages were blown up in slow motion. And that's something that we have to face right now. And it's one of the biggest problems within relationships. Men or women do this at different stages of life, okay? So if what I said hits a chord in your heart and this is what you're going through, just know that you're not alone. It's probably one of the biggest problems in our society today, the huge gap and the lack of acknowledgement that we are actually allowed different characteristics that help us move through or improve our results in different areas of life. And if you haven't put focus on your relational health or how your character can affect your relational health, you can feel free to book a call with one of us, okay? Link is in our description below. And remember, you're not alone in this, and we can discuss in a consultation because therapy does help. Self-awareness expands your brain, expands knowledge, and with knowledge comes power and the ability to actually find a genuine, intentional, personal reason to change. Because gentlemen, please do not start fixing it only when things explode. If there are cracks, it's time to start now, okay? So this wraps up my video for today. It's everything that I wanted to say when it comes to what happened in this trending event. I do believe this is one of the biggest symptoms within our society and marriages, and there were more things that could have been done prior than just the cheating event alone. Obviously, he was caught in a very public way. However, we can all learn from it, men and women. And I'm not saying his wife couldn't have done anything to help either, okay? And I'm not blaming her for the cheating, but obviously things were already happening, cracks were already showing that I feel like the relationship messed up on. Maybe he was not willing to be vulnerable. He wasn't willing to recalibrate the relationship. Maybe she wasn't either and she was fed up. And so the gap just increased even more. And so they grew tired. And then he did this. And so he kind of screwed the nail in the coffin a little bit more, right? A little bit deeper. So wrapping things up, the truth is it's not just about marrying someone and then it's done. It's not just about keeping her around. It's about becoming a man or creating a relationship or a marriage in which you can feel fully seen and understood and respected and valued. And you are challenging yourself to do that, okay? And also providing that for your partner as well. What kind of marriage do you want to create? What kind of home do you want to create? What kind of family do you want to create for your family and your kids? I think that's one of the most important things that you have to think about if you resonate with this video, okay? Well, thank you guys. Thank you for joining me on today's topic. If you have any questions, comment down below. What is your 2 cents on what happened? What do you think he could have done? What do you think are the problems within our society that drive men to cheat? Are men just cheaters in general? Or can we promote something else? I don't know. Comment down below your thoughts. Curious. Bye, guys. Hi, everyone. If you enjoyed our content, don't forget to follow us on TikTok and IG where we post daily and YouTube where we post weekly.